we are here talking about Spiritist philosophy, and as well I understood important part of that is how we transform ourselves, how we transform our spirits, so that we are really deserving that a little bit that help that we are receiving. I think it's a good question. How we can be better tomorrow than today? And I understood, as well I have understood from studies from Spiritism, Jesus is the most evolved, most developed spirits who has incarnated in the earth. Also, as Stefan told, only who has been really giving so perfect example of love. So I would like to open discussion about that, how to educate ourselves spiritually. Are we good enough? Should we go to the next subject? Please help me. And your collaboration, it's most actually, this is the one of this open target of this meeting, that we are sharing our experiences, ideas, and point of views. Okay, Karen, can they say something? Yes, you were all about to say something.
I think one idea is given to us in the Gospel, according to Spiritism, that we are invited to, at the end of every day, just stop for a few minutes and think about what have we done today. Did we do all the good we could have done? How did we behave? Did I hurt someone? Did I do something that I know is not right? I think this really helps us to get to know ourselves, to get to know about the things that we should improve in ourselves. We might do this by ourselves, or just make a deal with someone who's close to us and ask their opinion. Just do some reflection on how we are doing and see what we should change actually, or where we have to improve.
So is it some kind of auto-analyze by yourself, taking your, let's say, the other perspective and looking, is it what I have been doing and is it good, and is it something like that?
Yeah, we're being advised to get to know ourselves. Spiritism tries to advise us like this, and that might help us to analyze us.
So I think that there is, in one, Charles may know but exactly, but there is one part of Spirit's book where I think St. Augustine is
the Gospel,
919, and he is proposing that we will make some kind of auto-analyze ourselves, and we pray help from our spiritual guide to give responses for this. And I have to say personally that I have been trying to do it, and sometimes, let's say almost always, I'm not very happy with my analysis. So I have been looking at these 24 hours what I have been passing. Many good things could be done. So, but it helps. If we look our day, what we have been done, in the end of the day, we pray clarification and guidance so that we will be able to be better tomorrow. If we don't fall asleep, like that happens to me sometimes, it is good to do. How about, do you have any other ideas? If we would be in Brazil, everybody would talk, but now we are in Europe, so it's okay. Elsa, please.
I just try a few thoughts. You said it, everything, you know, a certain work on self-awareness, you know, and ask good spirits, and, you know, be in the state when you said, when you are aware of what's your biggest issues, you know, what is like obstacle there, which will not allow you to be free. It's like, I call it frog on the well, you know, so the water is not free-flowing and give you the life. It's still there, you know, and so we said, okay, so what's the frog? I want to know, and with patience, with the prayer, you can get there, you know, you can see it. So what I did, like in my case, when I really needed big time help, you know, and I was just, I did not know about spiritism, so I try hypnotherapy. So, excuse me, there's another sentence which I would like to say. When I was preparing one of the talk, the sentence came to my mind that the efforts are more important than achievements sometimes, you know, because the efforts will lead you there. All the matter is really the efforts you put into. So I was gathering information, okay, so I have this issue, how I can help it. So first was the hypnotherapy, you know, so it's hypnotherapy in the sense of meditation or, you know, calming the mind, you know, and try to work with subconscious basically, because time before I know about spiritism, like, then came Dr. Wayne Dyer, he was spiritualist, you know, but the most of all, of course, is the spiritism. But what I did that time, I attacked my issue with all the classical weapons I could. It was in my mind, it was in the reach, you know. So because I understand the key is the perception and the mind, you know. And I really suffered in that mind because those things didn't want to leave easy. I had not proper help. So I was trying to search yet with prayer. You know, I must say, I really prayed, you know, please God help me, and I'm here, I really need the answers. So you get those answers. You have to have open ears to subtle messages, and it can come in a variety of the forms, you know. It can come from postman, or it can come from some sentence you hear in the TV, and to me it was no solar, you know, it was the big, let's see, big bang of the answer of my questions to be answered. And from that time on, I start to search, put the efforts, and I found spiritism, and I think I'm set for life in love. So, excuse me if I.
Okay, so I would say that one thing what you point out is praying. Praying and own efforts. They are, so if we decide to make ourselves better, and if we ask help from God, so it gives huge force. And they are, and then the responses are coming. Okay, Elsa.
I'd like to remind us the importance of the gospel in the home. When you are doing with discipline every week the gospel in the home, although that people not are going to the Spirit Center, but the gospel in the home brings the light of spirituality towards the family. So we feel the difference week by week, week after week. We see the difference in our home. How can we educate our children, educate ourselves towards the Jesus teachings according doing gospel at home. If you don't have the gospel with you, you can open at random the Bible and see the quotation and discuss and pray together. The benefactors are there. With the intuition, you know that you need the points that you need to reform yourself. So your inner reform is a self-education that we need to do, because we have a Spirit Center in some cities, in some countries, but there are countries that have no Spirit Center at all. They are doing only the gospel in the home. In the future, another Spirit Center. But everything is inside ourselves, our family, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, Elsa. So, how many knows about this gospel at home practice? Okay, most of them. So I just, for them who are not knowing, so it's simple thing. You once per week, you define 1 hour, or let's say one time. It can be 15 minutes, it can be half an hour. You join your family members, these who are interested to study gospel. You read and comment and make sure to pray. It's very simple, and if somebody wants to have orientation or information about that, we are for sure, we are ready to help you. And there is actually this kind of information letter here about that. So here is written how to hold gospel in the home meeting. So we will arrange that to Eero. Eero is backside there. So I will just leave one sample here. And I can tell you that it's not only the, let's say, discussion, but it's also written in certain books of André Luiz, how he describes the family, what's happening there when they are having this gospel at home meeting. So there is really involvement of spiritual good spirits in this home. It gives protection, and it really helps them to educate and elevate themselves spiritually, to get a better connection to good spirits. So I think it was very good and important point what Elsa gave us. And next I would like to ask Chris.
I decided to speak because for me the gospel at home was also the first step I took. And by reading I felt this urge to make myself useful and take action. So also I saw a lecture about Haroldo Dutra Dias, famous Brazilian lecturer, and he says, you don't have to be good or perfect to help someone. You can be highly imperfect and full of bad things, but still you can always help someone. And you will only reach goodness and improve yourself by acting. So start doing what you can. What you can be a small thing, but just put yourself in action.
I would like to say that this is coming so nice, very good points, because if we are studying, we are praying, we are thinking what we should be, how we elevate ourselves, we are studying gospel, but if we don't start to act, if still keep on doing the same things what we have been doing, if we don't give ourselves something from for other people and for our society, if we still continue to doing the same, so it's even worse. And maybe I can tell you one example. It is told it's told by Chico Xavier, and it tells regarding one Brazilian medium, Euripides Barçanufo. Sorry, my spelling it's not maybe correct. But Euripides Barçanufo, he was very dedicated person to help other people, also spiritist. And once, and his mediumship was, let's say, very special. And it was told that once he was doing, I don't know what, and he was, let's say, separated, his spirit was separating from his body, and he felt that he was being transported in some very elevated spiritual environment. And when Euripides arrived there, he was looking that where I am. And he was looking, everywhere was green field, nice, beautiful green field. And then he was looking and observing, and he was thinking, oh, it is Jesus there. And he wanted to see to Jesus, but then he decided that no, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to see Jesus, so but what to say. But he was curious, and he wanted to see Jesus. And when he was going there, he was looking, Jesus was crying. He was seeing tears coming to the Jesus face, and then he was thinking, oh, it must be, why Jesus is crying? It must be because there must be people who don't know him. There must be people who don't understand, who have never heard about him. And then he received mental response, which was saying, no, I'm not crying because of them who don't know me. I'm crying because of them who know me, who have been listening to my teachings. They have been seeing my examples in their life. They have been teaching these things, what I have been teaching. I cry for them, because many of these people who understand what we should do, it's very logically and without any problem explained and shown with great examples made by Chico Xavier and another Divaldo Franco. We will tomorrow hear one example from Angola. The really dedicated people who are really giving themselves to help each other. So very often we keep on doing our things like we are, and we will face our consequences from that. So at that moment, I heard about this story, which was given actually by Divaldo Franco in one of his lessons. So I started to think myself, I know all of things. I'm keep on doing every day a lot of mistakes. So is it so that Jesus was crying because of me? He knew, I know, but still I keep on doing stupid mistakes. I could help more, I don't, because of my selfishness, because of my pride, because of my lack of faith, because I allow myself too much excuses, because missing of discipline, and we keep on doing that year by year without real transformation in our acts. So that was very, very impressive, and I know that based on this lesson which was given by Divaldo Franco, there was established spiritual hospital in some spiritual area which was dedicated for spiritists, which were in their incarnation with all this information making big mistakes. So it made me aware about our responsibility. It is given by Jesus that for these who are receiving more, there is requested also more from them. I don't know if it was good for me to mention, but it is something what Divaldo Franco mentioned. And I know that there is many people who has not been able to possibility even to read it or hear it because it was given in Portuguese. But I think it's something what we should keep in our mind. We are having a lot of information. We are seeing a lot of important examples. Nothing is missing from us. So actually something what we really should make big efforts is to educate and modify ourselves, our morality, remove our selfishness, our pride, and go to that direction where Spiritism is willing to take us. So to think, but it's important to act, make things happen. I think it's a very good way to elevate us in spiritual. Okay, sorry I'm talking too much. Lars, it's now your turn. Oh, Mara, okay.
Okay, I don't speak so good English, but my husband, he gonna help me. So
good.
Thank you.
Mara, you are too modest. You can go on.
is a good exercise to help someone. Is how can I say? To try to stay in the same situation of someone, because it's so good to say things, good things, and please. Não, porque é muito fácil.
It's very easy.
Só para falar sem compreender.
Only to speak, but not to comprehend.
E as pessoas precisam realmente, em alguns momentos, de serem ouvidos, de serem escutadas.
Persons need sometimes to be listened to.
E é o melhor exercício que eu penso de se melhorar.
Best exercise to improve ourselves.
Pelo fato de que agora eu fiquei nervosa.
Okay, she leaves it to me again. I will try, because what she tried to say is the best exercise for our own spiritual growth. Is to always do this exercise, that is putting yourself in the place of others, and putting yourself in the situation of the other person, and try to understand the situation of that person, and really try to get away from your own ego and your own eyes, and try to get into the other person and really understand that situation. That's really called empathy. So that's a good exercise, really, to increase our capacity to love and to help allow yourself to and other persons.
And I understood that when you put yourselves in other positions, place, then you don't condemn. You understand. You start to have compassion and understanding from this other person. Even sometimes they are different. But when you put yourself in this position, it's much easier to, let's say, think positive.
I can tell a short story from our experience now in Belo Horizonte. We went to the AME Minas Gerais Association of Medicine, of doctors, spiritist doctors. They also have mediumistic reunions, meetings. And there came this spiritual guide of this doctor group. It's called Carlos. And the medium is a psychiatrist called Roberto Luthi. He has published books that is really recommended to read. One of them is Carlos in the Steps of Jesus. But Carlos then incorporated this mediumistic meeting, and he gave a recommendation to us doctors when we receive patients, how to really try to imagine the situation, the suffering, the pain, the problem of the patient, and try to bring your own soul into the sufferer or the patient. And he made this example of a blind person. So you can imagine yourself blind and take off all the light in the room, and then you will do something. You will find maybe something you will need, or pick up some item, but without light at all. You can buy some clothes for your eyes, or turn off all the lights. You're in total darkness, and then you will pick up something, and then you feel this situation of the other person. And that's, we think, it's a really a good key to spiritual growth for ourselves. So that's the point. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, I'm Maya. Sorry, my voice might go down because there is something in my throat, cough or something. What comes to my mind is that we have been talking quite a lot of demand we need to put to ourselves and how suffering is developing us. But I also think that there is the other side of the thing, and that is happiness. What I have found is that, first of all, we have to allow ourselves to be happy, feel happiness, because happiness is a light energy. And what I think, because spirits, they are there, they are very, very light. So I think that the positive mind is extremely important, and especially when we come against these difficult issues. If we just have a little power in ourselves, it's good to try to stop and see the little things which might cause this little happiness. Because when we start to notice the little thing causing happiness, we somehow can make a chain, links, and put them together to reach the bigger happiness, the bigger lightness. And also, as I see it, the love is happiness. To be able to love, we give this energy which supports our self and the other ones around us, causing the happiness, the lightness, the brightness, the clearness. And one way for this seeing the things and notice the thing, that's my experience, the other ones might have something else, but is the sincereness to oneself, to being honest to oneself. And through that way, well, my makeup might not be as it should be, but so what? Is it important? So I still think that the destination should be the happiness, and how can we reach the happiness if we don't even notice it and we don't allow ourselves to be happy? I'm not sure, is it in the other culture different, but for example in our country we are very melancholic very often, not almost, but it's very common. And we say that we are not good and I should do more and so on. So I assume if we are having those kind of people here, I'm quite sure that they exist also in those other places. And for example, that type of person, the reaching of the happiness and noticing it in one's life is extremely important. And also when you kind of get to the track to see where you can gather this happiness and these good feelings, you probably become also a person who can help the other people seeing the light in their life. So you can support the other ones seeing the lightness in some way they haven't been able to see it this far. Thank you.
And I would like to say that I was having discussion today regarding this subject. So it's funny that when some people are doing some kind of sacrifice for others, but when they love, it doesn't. They feel this. They feel how it's making big difference. So it doesn't actually. It comes some kind of satisfaction. It makes happy. Okay, Elsa, they still. Can you give this to the Elsa?
I'm very sorry that I talk again, please, guys, but I have to. You know, how to educate ourselves spiritually is the question I'm coming back. So big thing, of course, for me is, and we have so much, as Sarasi mentioned, we have internet, we have YouTube videos, you know, all that stuff. But one of the things, you know, when I'm cooking, doing work for my kids, I really watch, you know, or listen videos. And one of them was Julio Cavalho, if you know him, from America. He got very nice talks. He likes to have poems, and I love his talk on the happiness. And just I'll be very brief, but it stuck in my ears, and I have to share this. Although I think most of you know that happiness. Everyone has different, you know, different views of what happiness is. But the foundational stone of happiness is peace of the mind. And so people can have lots of money, but if they don't have the peace of the mind, lots of suicides can happen, you know, as a consequence, because the peace of the mind wasn't there, you know, was missing. Or they could be very poor people, and they have peace of the mind, and they are just happy, you know, they are genuinely happy in their hearts. And how we obtain the peace of the mind is again through our efforts. And what kind of efforts? That we should choose what we should and not what we like sometimes. Because, for example, if I have diabetes and I know that I shouldn't eat sugar, and I do eat sugar like mad, so the consequence is that I be more ill. So sometimes we have to really, somebody hurts me. Do I want to say, or I hurt somebody, do I want to say sorry? I don't. I should say sorry. And if I don't, the consequence is I am not living in peace. So the key for happiness is always peace of the mind. Sorry, it's not from me. I'm just sent a message through that this was important, I think, to say.
I think the point that you made, sorry, I forget your name. Maya. Yeah. Is extremely important, because someone once said, Spiritists, they own happiness. And he said, yes, we do, because we know, we have an understanding that our life has some difficulties, but it's good. Life itself is a blessing. And I personally, I think everything I learn and study about Spiritism tells me that I have to be happy. And we should be happy, because we are happy people, we have lives. You know how precious, I think sometimes we look too much outside. When we imagine that we wake up in the morning and we can get up, go and have a shower, get breakfast, get ready, go to work. Do you know what a miracle this is? Actually being able to get up by yourself, dress yourself, go out, have a job to go to. Look, you have eyes, there is the sun coming up, the Venus is still there in the sky, and the sun is coming. Do you know what a miracle it is to have an eye, to look and to see things, to see the beauty of the world, when you think how many people have no eyes, cannot see, are blind? You know, we look for happiness in silly things. We forget how happy we are. And if we have this knowledge that Spiritism brings, not that Spiritism is the only religion that brings happiness, because one of the things that's important about Spiritism, I find, is that you don't need to move to change your religion to become a Spiritist. You can be a Catholic, you can be a Muslim, and you still be a Spiritist. And we forget that life itself is a blessing. To have someone that you love. And also, I think, we are so blessed when we can love. You know, even if we don't have a family, even if we don't have children, we have friends, we have people. If we have within ourselves the possibility that to love a dog, to love a flower, to love someone, to have a friend, this is blessing, this is happiness. We are so confused, you know, we wanted to be the most enlightened spirits overnight. The most enlightened spirits started like we are. They grow. I mean, Jesus himself said, you are gods. You can do everything I do and more. He said, within us, we have the potential to be even higher than he was. He has millions of years, maybe ahead of us. And that's where we are, because the ultimate thing for the Spirit is light, is enlightenment. All of us, whether we like it or not, will one day become angels of light. And this in itself is happiness. I think sometimes, we have problems, we have difficulties. It doesn't mean that we don't suffer, that we don't have someone who gets ill, or we ourselves become ill, and, we lose our jobs. There's a lot of problems, but there is always a solution. Everything passes. I think Chico Xavier once was in a lot of difficulties, and he asked his spiritual guide Emmanuel, asked the Virgin Mary, because he had great faith in the Virgin Mary. And the message that she sent to him through Emmanuel was, everything passes. Difficulties goes. And that's why we have to be, being spiritual means that we can share the world with everyone, that we can be pleased and happy and joyful of the little things. Being able to walk is a miracle. To be able to see, to hear, we can sing, we can dance. Being here today is a miracle. It's a blessing, it's happiness, pure joy. To be connected with each one of us here. We came from different places, different experiences. We speak different languages. We couldn't be more apart than if we wanted. Yet, here, now, we are one. Do you know that? Do you feel that? That we're sharing the same thoughts, we're sharing the same love, we're sharing the same learning. This is a miracle, this is wonderful, this is happiness. And when we think about the spirits who are here, all the loving spirits who came with us from our own countries, the spirits of this place, the spirit who guides the group here, we are in paradise. Let's remember this when we go out, because we can take this with us and share this with the people we meet. So I think, happiness is everything. We should be happy, really, really happy. And, being connected with another human being is the most wonderful thing. Happiness all around.